Greetings and welcome, y'all. This is Coach Veronica Marie, and I am here to help you live a healthy and a happy life in the area of dating after divorce and also after breakups. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing to my channel. My channel is all about emotional wellness and well-rounded living. If you are interested in this topic and need more assistance, you can find me on my website at veronicamarie.com. And so let's just jump straight in. So I did a dating after divorce and long-term relationships part one. I talked about some helpful things to consider. Today, I want to talk about the healing aspect because after you have been in a long-term relationship, a long-term commitment, it doesn't matter how long term is, just that you had the desire to be long term, even if it didn't last that long. There's some healing that probably needs to happen. And when I talk about healing, what I'm talking about is resolving problems that couldn't get resolved within the relationship. And I'm also talking about levels of openness. So when I'm talking about healing, I'm talking about resolving old energies from your past relationship and levels of openness. So right away, I think it's important to realize that your last relationship molded who you have come to be. Right. It wasn't the only thing molding you, but it was certainly part of it. It influenced heavily the way that you think, the patterns that you think in, your associations, your conditionings, which is your natural ways of thinking, your natural way of perceiving, your natural way of receiving information. That relationship impacted all of these things. And so, if that relationship impacted all of these things, I think it's a good idea to begin to clear those things out. So, question number one: what areas have I grown to fear or avoid? Sometimes people have grown to avoid other people's anger. Some people have grown to fear disconnection. What have I grown to fear or avoid in with from my last relationship? From my last relationship. I'd like you to think about your patterns from that relationship. What kind of patterns were present? What kind of patterns of push and pull? What patterns of aggression and passive aggression? What patterns of powerlessness and hurt were common? Those are the things that influenced you. What did you grow to believe about your emotions as a result of those interactions? What did you grow to believe about your thought processes as a result of those interactions in your past relationship? In what ways were you different after the relationship when compared to before it? How did you shift over time? What are some positive qualities you gleaned out of that relationship for yourself? What are some negative ways of being you have become accustomed to since that relationship? All of these things are essential to know. How have you been negatively conditioned? What kind of things had become a pet peeve within that relationship? What kind of things that you deeply despise about the other person and about their behaviors and actions, either one of those? Um, this is important because as you meet new people, if you don't grow to see how that relationship has molded your perspectives and ways of being, you will begin to treat new people according to those old patterns. And if you don't treat people according to the old patterns, you'll still think them and keep them to yourself and suffer. Remember, healing, as I'm talking about it in this regard, has to do resolving past energies. Where do you need assistance in being able to see from a different perspective? Where do you need assistance in growing to trust yourself? Where do you need assistance in openness where disagreements are concerned? Here's a question: what are you open to? What are you not open to? The things that you are not open to, are they a result of pain? If so, that's okay, but that's a good question to know. Things that come about as a result of pain are not your authentic desire, they're your conditioned desire. What are your conditioned desires? In other words, like some people are no longer open to living with others because they experienced pain in the past. That is a conditioned desire because deep within they may still want to live with someone. They just don't believe in the effectiveness of it due to past pain, right? So there's level, and so I said healing had to do with levels of openness as well, right? So you may be in your deepest of hearts interested in a new connection or living together or closeness, but on your intellectual level layer, you may not be open, right? So your desire may be different from what you are actually open to, and that is okay. It's just important to know that about yourself. How did you come to think about yourself as a result of interactions in your last relationship? Do you like the ways that you have come to think? How do you want to shift them? What would you like to think about yourself? And how can you implement that in an everyday practice? What kind of things did you see about yourself that were not so appealing in that relationship? Sometimes you didn't listen well. Sometimes you jumped to conclusions. Sometimes you were very dismissive or trivializing things. Sometimes you were unaware. What quote unquote negative qualities can you look back and see that were within you or operating on the outside of you in that relationship? Are those qualities still there? Do you want them there? Do you want to shift into something else? See, healing after a breakup, healing after a long term relationship, healing after divorce means that you're going to have to not only discover who you were before that relationship, who you became, and who you want to become. Those can be all very different beings. How open are you emotionally? Are your emotions available to another person? How open are you mentally? Is your mental space um, at a capacity where you can receive other people's thoughts and mindsets without judgments? Or do you need to judge? I mean, I'm not telling you not to judge. I'm just saying know yourself, you know? And how how clearly can you see the new person in front of you? Or are you still pulling from your past relationship? Are you still saying things like, I'm not used to being treated well? I'm not used to this. I'm not used to that. That means there's some unresolved energies because it's time to start growing toward getting used to it. So maybe your resolution in that area could be, in my past relationship, I didn't operate like this, but I want to operate like this. Therefore, I am working toward this new way of being rather than I'm not used to this, right? It may be foreign, a lot of things that you are experiencing in dating, because if you have broken up or experienced a divorce, most likely you have been not really in satisfaction emotionally for a long time, maybe even also physically. So when you meet new people and they're very into you, very open, very different, that may feel foreign and that might cause you to be suspicious or back away or close up. Well, that's okay if that's what you need to do, because sometimes you need to self protect while you're healing. But at other times, you really don't want to do that. So you may need some assistance in understanding how can I come out of this pattern of pulling away from what I really want. That's a good question. I do offer one-on-one coaching on all of these topics. I also offer couples coaching, right? And so again, healing as I'm talking about it involves how are you handling your unresolved energies from your past relationship? And what are your levels of openness? What are you open to? What are you not open to? Of the things that you're not open to, what is your true desire versus what you've come to think based upon your past relationship, of the things that you are open to. What of those things are your true desires? And what if those things are the result of your past relationship? You need to know the difference. I think that's important because, again, deep in your heart, you may want closeness. But as a result of your past relationship, you may not have much faith in closeness, or you may be disoriented as to how to create that, right? So, in that way, your levels of openness differ when you look at the deep desire versus the outer layer of openness. So, that's what I have today. I'm just helping you live a healthy and a happy life after a breakup, after divorce. My name is Veronica Marie. Please do consider sharing the video and subscribing to this channel. If you need one-on-one coaching, then you can sign up on my website at veronicamarie.com. You can catch me on social media channels, just hashtag Veronica Marie, and I should pop up. That's it for now. Have a beautiful night and a healthier and a happier life.